This is the Conversation Project, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne. And in mere moments, we're going to present for you, weirdly, 10 of yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture stories. Because this morning we're not so great at math, but we'll explain a little bit more of that as we go into the process for today. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news, the stories you may have missed and stories that may have been overcovered, but we give you some added context to the overcovered and some access to the ones you may have missed, and some folks you can debate with that you don't normally have a chance to debate. 10 stories. We're going to go back to Carlee Russell. Yes, we're going back to Carlee Russell, unfortunately, and 9 other stories that are in the news that you guys vetted as conversational. We'll explain that after we go through all the conversational stories, how that got that way, how you get to vote them in. But right now, I want to remind you that our main website is a conversationproject.com. That is this. It's theconversationproject.com. When you go there, you can find out more details about all the stuff we have going on behind the scenes and why we do the things in front of the scenes, if you will. So let's get into the headlines. 10 of them today just sort of happened. We'll explain that as we go along. But today, of course, we're giving you those headlines for the morning that happens to be Thursday, July the 20th, 2023. Headline number 1, we're just kicking off right here and just getting into it. Hoover Police Department released additional information on Carlee Russell investigation, and the information they have released is basically on the level of bonkers. Now, Carlee Russell disappeared last week when she saw a toddler walking on the interstate and called 911 to let people know. Unfortunately, she did some weird internet searches in days prior and some other things that aren't so good, including doing a search asking, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert, and taking money from a register without getting caught, and of course stuff about the movie Taken, which is of course about being abducted. She also did some weird things at work, did some weird things, some shopping things that, we can track these things she's now. And she just sort of showed up back at home on Saturday after being gone for a couple days. Police have not actually spoken to her yet, again, since the original showing back up at her house. But after they've done more investigating, this turns into literally a bad story. Now, if you're a person like me who follows the Black Twitter, because I'm Black and I follow Twitter, you will know that a whole lot of folks are very upset at Miss Russell for, number 1, just filing a false claim, and number 2, making us look bad because there's enough non-coverage of Black women being kidnapped and being taken in places like this for a person to fake it in such a bad way to take up all the air and deflate from that situation, and of course make it worse for the coverage going forward, because people remember these things and people remember the falseness of some of these things and why they should not trust these things, when in the next case, boy cried wolf, someone might actually need something and enough people have screwed around with it. It's there. Now, this guy, judge rejects Trump's request to move Stormy Daniels' hush money case to federal court. This is not one of the big federal indictments that we're looking for the summer of Trump being indicted and running for president. This is just retelling of the story that we thought was done, but apparently is far from it. That's Stormy Daniels, Stephanie Clifford, her real name, and the hush money that was paid to her to keep her quiet, which didn't work out very well because we all know about this. Now, what's really sort of interesting about this one is Trump's push was the fact that he paid this money, or this money was paid, should say, for the allegedly stuff, while he was president. So as the official capacity of a president, he was just doing business and no one should be dealing with it. The judge says this was a personal matter, has nothing to do with being president, and this was just about, not being embarrassed. So no, we're not going to bump it up to federal court. We're going to leave it where it is and just be done with it, or maybe not done with it, since we're unfortunately still talking about this one. This is one I told you, if you made it in the range, we're going to talk about this one big time. Tupac Shakur's long unsolved killing, again under the spotlight as Las Vegas police conduct search. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police said on Monday that they conducted a search in Henderson, but did not say whether a suspect has been identified yet. It's also unclear that they are what they're looking for and where exactly they looked in this thing. Now, remember, Shakur was shot multiple times while sitting inside of a black BMW with Marion Knight, known as Suge, of course, the head of Death Row Records, and of course died a few days later. Shakur's death came amid a feud with Notorious B.I.G., ignited after Shakur was seriously wounded after another shooting. Of course, B.I.G. died in a sort of similar fashion, if you will, and it became sort of the beef of the my development years, if you will, following hip hop back in the day. But what we do know is that there's so many mysteries we don't know about what actually happened, which makes this thing's a great story because you can put any type of spin you want to on this. Las Vegas police are back into the case. Hopefully, we'll now have a solution, a resolution for what happened to Tupac. My pocketbook now a bit worried now. Microsoft and Activision Blizzard extend merger agreement to October. So I spoke a few days ago after Activision and Microsoft did say they're going to keep the Call of Duty game on many platforms, so that popularity was there, and so everyone seemed to be happy. Right now, there's some in this extended negotiations with the UK regulators because they actually, read their homework and check on things. So they've pushed back the merger agreement, basically the transaction, to October 18th. We will see how this comes through. Microsoft and Activision had agreed to basically have things work out by close of August 29. We shall see how this plays out as the Europeans get a chance to run it through, or specifically the UK regulators, the UK, the British regulators, work this thing out and see what happens. Now, two stories that combine into one, essentially. Headline number one is CMT pulls Jason Aldean's controversial "Try That in a Small Town" video. Billboard gave us that one. And then later in the evening, I saw this one, and I put it up there and we'd see what would happen. They were essentially back to back. Jason Aldean could see sales boost as song hits #1 on iTunes amid controversy. That was Fox Business. So your source may vary on how you get the point on this one. Jason Aldean's song "Try That in a Small Town," which has been called a lynching song and a pretty dark, where it's essentially putting up some of the tropes we have of crime that's going on in our nation and in our world, unfortunately, and saying, well, try it in a small town and see what happens. Along with the video, which shows a lot of very disturbing images and is essentially filmed in a town that's known for historically lynching and things like that. So CMT pulled from there, of course. The first cries were time to cancel CMT, along with Bud Light and everything else, and the country music folks can't get nothing nice these days and all that other stuff. Well, apparently they're taking care of Jason Aldean on the back end. And Jason Aldean could see his sales boost because everybody's downloading the song on iTunes and other music platforms, essentially because they can't get it other places, which happens. It wasn't taken from the marketplace, just from the CMT video rotation. And of course, with a lot of people complaining about it, people want to go hear it. And when people hear it, those who like it say, oh, I'm going to keep listening. Those who want to just kind of, stroke the flames and say, I'm going to support this guy because he's anti-whatever, are going to keep listening to it. Those who don't like it, for some reason, rage listen because it's what happens. So, despite not being on CMT for mainstream promotion, because people hear about the story, they're all streaming it. What are your actual thoughts on this one, whether pro or against, up or down, good CMT, bad iTunes, whichever? Reply to me, email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com, and we can throw some of those comments, as I'm sure we will continue in with this story going much forward. It ain't going away. Something else that isn't going away is the strike with the writers and the actors. This is more on the actors than the writers, but Comic-Con 2023 schedule is out, and the headline that goes along with this is Star Trek, The Walking Dead, Harley Quinn headline quieter event amid SAG-AFTRA strike. There will still be panels going on at the Comic-Con coming up. The schedule is now out for the event, so you can see what panels will be out there, what seminars are going to happen. But what's going to happen with this is there'll be less people to present things because many people are actively walking the picket line or representing the actors or the writers in some cases for this stuff. So there'll be smaller venues and smaller academy folks showing up for the headlining different panels that are going to happen there. There will be panels, still will be the madness that it is, and yes, plenty of cosplay to get from this thing as well. But they'll be a bit muted as most of the people who are there are talking about things that are in the can and ready to go, and so they're basically taking care of anything ongoing, anything going future, anything looking forward. Obviously, they're not talking about because they're not working on it. Mackenzie Scott's $250 million open call for donations yields up applications for 6,353 nonprofits. The billionaire philanthropist Mackenzie Scott first opened up a grant that yielded 6,353 applications from nonprofits. 250 winners will be announced in early 2024. With $14 billion up for grabs, this is a pretty big deal for folks who can get in on this thing. Of course, this nonprofit's been around since 2019, something she launched from the money she got from divorcing Jeff Bezos. That's not conjecture. That's what happened. She was married to Jeff Bezos. She became a billionaire. They got divorced. She threw her money into funding nonprofits. Good for her. The organization is called Yield Giving. As announced, it was soliciting a grant application for the first time, but limited the applications to organizations with budgets between $1 million and $5 million. This eliminated a lot of organizations that could have used some $1 million, so they had to be actually well established and on the upper end of needing the money. But the ones that are going to get this are going to do fairly well. 250 different organizations getting a good chunk of money off of, I'm going to say it, Jeff Bezos's, big old swole arm. So congratulations to them. Taco Tuesday trademark is disputed, or this dispute has been dropped by a rival chain. So Taco Bell gets a chance to get a win in the Taco Tuesday trademark. Now, what happened? Taco John, a smaller regional taco chain, actually owned the rights, the legal trademark to Taco Tuesday, which is why Taco Tuesday, something everybody says, is not commonly used for any sort of major advertiser to use because they'd have to pay Taco John. Taco Bell, because they're so great with philanthropy, is like, you know what? Taco Tuesday belongs to everyone. Everyone should use Taco Tuesday. Everyone should have a chance to use Taco Tuesday. And because they were going to sue, and it costs a lot of money, and Taco John's isn't as big as Taco Bell, Taco John just sort of backed away and gave it up. So now look very, very soon for Taco Bell and other places start using Taco Tuesday in their actual promotions, because it's now free. Well, not quite free use, but the trademark is not owned exclusively by the Taco John chain. So there you go. Now you can freely say Taco Tuesday without worry of being, locked up. Just like you worry about cutting the mattress tags off after you got that. That's really, the mattress store can't cut them off. It's not you. You're free to cut off all the mattress tags you want to. And finally, this one, for some reason, we messed up the count. We had 8. We did 9 on purpose with the Jason Aldean. And then somehow in the mix, we didn't eliminate the story. This falls more along the line of just sort of literally just kind of overkill and just piling on. But we are interested in the story. So it's in the list. Quickly, let's go through it. Sofía Vergara and Joe Manganiello's marriage was impacted by a sobriety. This is a page 6 story, so take it with the grain of salt that it is. We got more details on the upcoming divorce of the couple, with Joe being the person who filed divorce, the currently, in irreconcilable differences, things going on that. But the rumor mill is saying that Joe Manganiello was trying to stay sober, and his journey to sobriety was an issue. Now, on the flip side, sources on Sofía Vergara's side say she was the most supportive of her husband in that source. So what we're going to find out is more innuendo and more rumor stuff going on. So I'm really, really sad that somehow it got popped into the listing here. Not so much we put it out there to be talked to, because it was in the range to talk about, but it was not meant to be in the stories for the day. So we get an extra story, making this thing go long, number one, and going deeper into this thing. Now, we're going to try to do less of these stories unless they become extremely conversational and extremely, interesting for you guys, because part of this is about being nosy. So we're going to dig into their business if you guys keep telling me to dig into their business. This is our teaser story for this morning. The teaser story is what we are teasing to possibly talk about for the Friday edition going forward. The headline reads like this. Canada's Pacific dock workers revoke strike notice after Trudeau's crisis meeting. So we think a lot of people in the States are striking. Guess what? They're striking all over places as well. Right now, there's a big strike in Africa for the tea growers, as they're trying to bring in more machines to get rid of the people picking tea leaves. In Canada, something similar is happening. Pacific dock workers are going to strike. At least they put a notice of strike after Trudeau tried to save some face, if you will, and save some issues in the negotiations going forward. Looks like, not only do our workers have some issues, their workers do as well. This is a story worth talking about. This is how the feeds work. Go to our feeds, our links on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. All day long, all night long, every 50 minutes, we're posting a news story for you to engage in. If you see a story you like, see it, say it, share it. Like it, love it, hate it. Engage in the story, and the higher engagement story gets, the better chance we have of talking about it. Today, on this Thursday, we normally pick 8 stories from the top 15 stories. Today, we picked 9 on purpose and a 10th one just because of, rounding error, if you guess. But normally from Tuesday through Friday, we're 8 stories in. And then on Monday, we'll give you 10 stories. We're picking from a larger pool of 30 stories because it's a full weekend. Go to our feeds when you're checking your stories, your Facebook and your Twitter on your own, and engage in the stories you see and look for things popping up. And if you see something that we're not doing, tweet it at us, share it on Facebook, email it to us. We'll try to look forward and get it in there. And the sources are all over the place, so some you'll love, some you'll hate. But we need you to engage so we know what to engage in the stories here. Now, we need you to also to engage with our sponsors. And one sponsor that we really, really love, and we'll bring this back up again, is the Chess Store. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/the chess store for great chess sets. I'm going to keep it quick because you've heard about us talk about the Chess Store before, and we are running a bit long today, so it's simple. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/the chess store, and the day today, right now, might be the moment where you think, I've been hearing these things about the Chess Store. I've been wanting to get back in the chess or want to learn some chess. Now is the time. Well, not exactly now because we still have like 5 more minutes to go through. But today is the day to go to the Chess Store and get yourself that brand new, beautiful chess set for your home, or that great travel chess set for you to take with you all on the go. Go to our affiliate site. We get paid affiliate commission for this. This is theconversationproject.com/the chess store, and you'll be taken care of, and they'll take care of us with a slight commission on this purchase. Very quickly, let's promote ourselves. Yes, you've heard us talk about ourselves way too much as well. So quickly on this one, the Conversation Project lives at thisisaconversationproject.com. What do we do at the Conversation Project? We do this 5 days a week. We give you things you might have heard as a morning news update, or whenever you get around to it, news update in your feeds going forward. We provide this in a newsletter form where you get the links to the stories to just go straight to and read. We have the video on replay and an audio version there. And plus, we give you some perspective on the full week at the end of the week with the weekly wrap up and the story of the week. What we also do is bring in people and give you news story access to things that you may not get from the mainstream because the mainstream is doing mainstream stuff. Yes, we talked about Trump, but we also talked about Comic-Con. They make sense in a weird sort of way. And if you think we're doing great jobs with making that make sense, help us out. Go to our website and click on our partnerships link and see if there's a way that we can partner up for some support, from mutual support from the two of us. Also, as we said, go to the sponsors page. Buy something from one of our sponsors. They're all pretty great. And the most important thing is always follow us on the feeds, engage with the stories, and share the videos, the audios, and the links with other people. So do that. Now, we are running very, very fat in the timeline. So let's get into the fun stuff for this morning, shall we? Starting off with birthdays on this 20th of July. That includes Dean Winters, who is Mayhem right now. The biggest thing he's doing is that, but he's of course did a lot of great stuff, and of course he was in Law and Order for a while. He was on 30 Rock, very funny, playing one of the boyfriends on 30 Rock. Happy birthday to Dean Winters at 59 years old on the day. Gisele Bundchen is 43 years old today. 43 years old today. Say that slower. 43 years old today, and I think she's doing okay. I think she'll be fine. I think she's doing okay. Julianne Hough is 35 years old today, and she's famous for being on Dancing with the Stars. Her brother Derek also on Dancing with the Stars. He also had a quite little slip role in that I'm Not Your Guru movie with Tony Robbins, which is sort of weird. But the biggest thing that she's in the news for, and her brother as well, is that her father is running for office. That he's fairly pretty well into the scene where he lives, and he's running for office, and he's doing fairly well right now. So there you go. Julianne Hough is 35 years old today, and her father is running for office. Support if you want to. Today's in history, going way, way back on the 20th of July, looking back in 1914, a day where Adolf Hitler was slightly wounded when a bomb planted by would-be assassins exploded at the German leader's Rastenburg headquarters. Sorry about that. Now, one of the weirder things to go back to today's times, in 1 or 2 or 12 of the books about Trump that I've read over, his course of his presidency, there was a lot of talk about, Hitler, oddly enough, and how, the troops rallied around their leader, the Fuhrer at the time. And of course, with Trump maybe famously saying, Hitler got away with stuff and nobody tried to kill him. And then his people had to remind him that, they tried to kill him pretty much all the time. One of those times happened today, back in 1944. In 1969, Apollo 11 mission commander Neil Alden Armstrong and lunar module pilot Edwin Eugene Buzz Aldrin Jr., why they use the full names in this one, I'm not quite sure, became the first humans to walk on the moon, while command module pilot Michael Collins orbited above. Michael Collins only gets 2 names here. He even gets slided in there. Of course, Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the moon today. Collins drove the getaway car. And in 2021, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos went into space on an unpiloted suborbital flight with an all-civilian crew aboard a rocket developed by his company, Blue Origin. Of course, the inside joke is it's a rich guy who kind of looks like a penis in a ship that looks like a penis going into space, spending money that could be used on other things. Space. Rich guys. Mackenzie. Jeff. Now, finally, well, not quite finally, we're not quite there yet, but let's start with World Chess Day. July 20th is World Chess Day, and there's some confusion, some innuendo, some weirdness on that. We went with the chess store as our sponsor day because of the chess stuff. I was informed by the nice lady who runs a chess club at church, Miss Georgia, that she needed a video to send to India for an organization that was doing videos from places around the world to support International Chess Day. Although International Chess Day is not this month. But there is a World Chess Day. So I did a video. It says international. It should be world. And we're going to celebrate World Chess Day today. So just go play chess regardless. Every day, it's a great day to play chess. So just stop fighting. Stop fighting it. Seriously, just go play some chess. Be happy. Now, we're at the finally part where I can say, one more thing you might not have heard. According to a survey, a third of adults said they struggle to spend time with friends because they are too busy and can't afford to catch up. This guy right here. And 3/4 said while they get some time with friends, it's not as much as they would like. However, 6 in 10 admit that staying in touch with friends is easier than ever thanks to social media and smartphones and texting and not actually talking to people. Those words I'm adding to the thing. But yes, keeping up with friends as an adult is a hard thing to do because, work and families and kids and other things. You don't have time to do like on TV and sit at the bar every Thursday with your guys because it doesn't really work that way. But thanks to smartphones and social media, you can keep in touch with people from afar, even if that keeping in touch doesn't quite feel the same. You know what? We want you to keep in touch with what we're doing because we do this 5 days a week plus extra things. But for now, we're done for this morning. The Thursday, July 20, 2023 edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard is now officially in the books. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and what we're doing here across the world for your World Chess Day, World whatever day you want to celebrate. We're glad to have you with us. Now, we want to make sure you know that you need to follow us on our feed so you help us figure out what we're talking about. And if you think what we're doing is fairly good, help us out by going to our partnerships page or our sponsors page and seeing what's got going on. Stay hydrated. Stay limber, stay on task for all the grand things you are here to do. We are running extremely long in the show, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I'm going to stop, my bad ad libs at this point in time. I'll remind you that we got one more day, so you will tell us what we're talking about for Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we'll get you into the Monday edition, plus the weekend stuff. We'll promote all this stuff better tomorrow. Right now, thank you so much for being with us on this day. Find some time for some friends, and find some time to play some chess. Go ahead. Enjoy your Thursday.